right, guys, again, welcome back here to the 2014 USA Cycling Cyclocross National Championships. I think it's time to start racing, Dave. We
really
have
is.
your elite junior men, 17, 18. They're out there taking a look at the course for one final time, and we're about to rip here.
Yeah, we just had Mark Gullickson swing by talking about the fact that because of Katie Compton being World Cup leader, we have an extra spot at Worlds for Women. So 6 spots available for women. I believe 6 spots for men as well. And then this is another one of the races that makes World Championship dreams come true here.
58 junior men aged 17 to 18 have traveled in here to Boulder, Colorado to vie for that Stars and Stripes National Championships jersey. This is it. I mean, it's important to the elite men. It's important to everybody else, but nobody probably gets more psyched about this race than the junior men. I mean, they're all in high school. This is a big opportunity for them to come out here and race against the best from around the country. They don't. A lot of these juniors, they really stick pretty regionally. I mean, I know the top ones, they go to Europe for Christmas cross camp. They travel to 1 or 2 of the big races, but it's not every day they get to race against their peers. Most of these guys will see them in the Cat 3 race. They race against older guys a lot, so to race against other juniors on that level, it's a big opportunity for this group.
Yeah, this is where it really starts to count. This is where you're building a race resume, and there's a man that already has. Peter Gaugen's been the most successful junior rider in America this year, without doubt. Anders Nystrom coming out of Boise, Idaho, part of that very successful Boise Young Rider Development Squad, the Birds. And then Josie White. It's really nice to see this representation from all over the country because Max Chance is Boulder, Colorado's hometown hero for Cliff Bar in this race.
Yep, we got Cooper Wisely coming out of Vermont racing for that cyclocross world team. A great group of riders coming out of New England here with Peter Gaugen up there on the top list, Cooper Wisely.
He and Gaugen really have been the top out of New England, haven't they?
Yeah, Austin Vincent, another very, very strong rider, a teammate of Gaugen's actually for the Race CF program. He had some great results over in Europe.
Yeah, and then Liam Earl, another one of the Birds riders, and then out of Bend, Oregon, Lance Hayden, who has been extremely talented. That Bear development team is based out of NorCal, but he's an Oregon-based rider, and that makes up your front row. Then you look at row 2, Jonathan Anderson and Nolan Brady are up there. Nolan representing the Northwest for Rad Racing Northwest.
So many great programs around the country. We talk about the Red Zone team, the Rad Racing Northwest, those Lionheart kids. I mean, every region now really has such a top-notch junior program. Ian McShane is in here as well for the Sophisticated Living program. Ethan Reynolds on your second row along with Garrett.
And that's the 3rd Boise-based kid in the top 12 in the country. Think about that. And that speaks to development, going back to what Douglas Tobin is doing there with that Birds program. Garrett Gerchar is another one of our local heroes in this field. And then you see Kyle Blosser and Javier Colton.
Coming out of Bend, Oregon, probably one of those riders. It's amazing what it does when the national championships come to your region. We see so many of these kids now from Bend and from Louisville and from Madison. The Nationals came there when they were young. They got an early introduction to the sport at the top level, and it's really kick-started their career, and we see that paying off now over these years.
And Max Chance, so what Spencer Petrov is to the Louisville scene out of the Ohio Valley, Max Chance is what this bike park has built up. Or maybe even I should say Drew Dillman, really, when I'm talking about that Louisville, the boost that they had there. Well, the boost that cyclocross racing had in Boulder, well, actually, it's kind of a ripple effect because it's always been so popular here. But he has benefited from this park. He probably has ridden more laps here than any other kid in this field. Although, Garrett Gerchar might be up there as well. So it's really nice for the Boulder kids now. It's a come play in our park, and let's see who is the best in the country. It's really that simple.
All right, so welcome again, everybody. If you're just tuning in, this is the USA National Championships. I'm Cole McElwain here with Dave Toll for USA Cycling on BehindTheBarriers.tv, and we have your junior men about to get underway. Dave, when we talk about the favorites here, I mean, like you said, it's really Peter Gaugen and Austin Vincent have been the 2 strongest juniors nationally here on the domestic circuit. They've been very good in Europe, but then we talk about coming up here to Boulder and altitude, and you look at not only the riders from altitude, but they're from Boulders. They have such an advantage, like you said, having known this course. It's going to be very interesting to see the fitness go up against the home field advantage.
Really is a great point, Colt. I mean, yesterday we saw that Yannick Ekman, Logan Owen battle going on, so you don't have to be from altitude to win at altitude. Logan Owen has proved that. But I think really what you're going to see, and I think that for Max Chance, this is a great opportunity to put these guys into trouble early, just like Logan Owen did yesterday, and force them to take those big risks. In order to win, now this is the level, I really believe, Cole, in order to win here, you're going to have to take some risks today. In this group, you are definitely going to have to go out there on that edge, that razor's edge required to win. And I think that in Max Chance's case, the best thing he could do would be to absolutely Logan Owen it. Go out first lap, blow the thing up, see who's still in the mix 8 minutes, 10 minutes into this race, and then we'll start settling into a rhythm here. Now, some of these guys from the East Coast, I think they're going to get caught out. I really do believe the altitude will make a difference in this field. Now, you know, the other guy that we were talking about earlier was Cooper Wilsey coming out of Vermont. He's another one of these New Englanders that you have to keep your eye on here today. And, you know, the wild card to me today is certainly because Bend isn't exactly at altitude, but it's not sea level either. And Lance Hayden, to me, is on the podium. He's top 3 today, actually. And I know that might be a little bit of a bold assessment, but Colt, I'm making that call. It sounds like they are just about ready to launch this field into orbit here. You can see the call-up is being made for that look like one of our sophisticated living Bob's Red Mill riders being called up there.
Yep, there's Andrew.
That would be Ian McShane, I believe.
Yep. That is Josie Week there lining up for the Red Zone program. Max Chance going to get on the front row as well there. He will line up next to Cooper Wilsey of the Cyclocross World Team. And
that is Max Chance, the Cliff Bar rider, right in the middle of your screen here. Living a dream out here today. Winds are dying down. The temperatures out at the grid right now are probably pretty close to 45. The sunshine is bright, as you can see. Perfect day for racing.
Peter Gogan there lining up. He has the #1 call-up. He's chosen to be right up against the left side of that barrier, maybe protect himself from a little bit of the wind.
Gogan, the man to beat, no doubt about it today. Comes in as your odds-on favorite, almost like Emma White.
Gogan comes in, I don't know if he's that much of an odds-on favorite, but he has been the most consistently good rider throughout the season. Max Chance has been very good, not only in Colorado, he went out to CXLA there, some UCI races, won both days. He's guaranteed himself a spot on the World's team, but it's going to be interesting to see yesterday. In that U23 race, we had the teammates together with Cal Giant. They weren't really working together. In this race, I would not be surprised to see Austin Vincent on the front row along with Peter Gogan trying to get together and do some work.
That's Anders Nystrom with 57 on his shoulder, one of the young men from Boise, as that emerging scene looks to arrive in full effect here today in Boulder. Boise also a city much like Boulder, not very high altitude, but high enough that these kids have an advantage today. And I know Anders Nystrom is going to try to make hay while it's in the field.
We just saw the ECV rider there out of Massachusetts. That was Jonathan Anderson, one of the riders there on the front row we haven't talked about yet, but he had a very good ride last year in the national championships as a 17-year-old. He comes back on the front row. New England and Colorado very well represented here.
Yeah, Garrett Gerchar was the rider. We were just looking at the other Cliff Bar rider. Then Lance Hayden has the star on his shoulder. 63 is his number. That's the man out of Bend, Oregon. So really, the entire country, it really is all these hot spots of cyclocross have got their man in this fight. And I cannot wait to see what happens. There's going to be an explosion out of Valmont Bike Park. You know, Rocky Flats, only about 10 miles down the road, they used to build nuclear plutonium triggers down there. Well, there's going to be a nuclear-like explosion going on today in Boulder, but for once it makes sense.
58 of the top junior men from around the country.
Can you feel it? I mean, can you feel it?
You can feel it building. The spectators, I mean, it's 11 o'clock in the morning out here in Boulder, Colorado, and these fans are rolling in. They're not just waiting for the elite men today. They are here. They know that every one of these races matters. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, go ahead, share the word if you're out there. If you want to get in touch with Dave and I, we are on Twitter. We got an update here. You can reach me at Dopersuck, Dopersuck. If you guys have a particular junior rider out there that you're looking for, let us know. We'll do our best to keep tracks of all of them out there, although that front of the race is going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, this is Mark Gullickson was here a couple days ago talking with all the promoters from around America about UCI inscriptions for this junior category. And we really do hope to see that grow around the country here, because what we're doing is building the foundation for the future of our elite representation in the sport. There's 3-4 guys in this field, I think, that are going to go to that next level, being the top world cyclocrossers. Let's say 8 years from now, I'm going to say that these guys are going to be in that conversation.
When you look back over the results from the Cyclocross National Championships and the junior men's race, even over the last decade, it's amazing the names that were in there. The top every
Page,
top mountain
it's
biker.
Powers.
It's Page, it's Powers, but it's also TJ Van Garden. It's Taylor Finney was racing cyclocross nationals. A lot of those guys at the time, we talked about this yesterday in the U23 race, but they didn't have the opportunity to make a living as a cyclocross racer. And so those top riders, they went to the road or they went to mountain bike and they signed those contracts. But we've seen now with Jonathan Page, Tim Johnson, now Jeremy Powers taking on the role of a full-time professional cyclocross riders. For guys like Logan Owen and Peter Gogan, the top guys in the sport, there is a viable avenue for them to pursue as a professional athlete, to really make a living in a career doing what they love. And you see here the result of the last 10 years of work put in by our current elite riders. These guys are really starting to benefit, and they're coming into the sport in a really great place.
We hear about the adding cyclocross to the Winter Olympiad. Well, how about adding a couple spots in every World Tour team designated as a cyclocross road designation on that team? And certainly guys like Logan Owen, I mean, Lars Boom, Zdenek Stuyvesant, these guys have already proven that this sport has so much potential. And I think that UCI is going to see that.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, cyclocross was always, you know, the stepsister. It always sort of took place in the winter, and it was something to go on while the other racing wasn't going on. But over these last 10, 20 years, cyclocross has really stepped up in the eyes of the public, in the eyes of the UCI, and they realize that it is, I mean, we talk about it all the time here in the USA, it is the fastest growing cycling discipline in North America, and it should be treated as such.
If you're wondering why, I'll reference you to the next 40 minutes of racing. You are not going to believe what we've got on tap. The top riders from really all over the country. As we mentioned, you know, Rad Racing Northwest. That is the original junior development program in the sport of cyclocross. They do all of the different disciplines, but Nolan Brady for that team, you know, every single one of these development squads seems to have a dog in the fight here. So Josie Wyke comes from that Ohio Valley scene. There's actually a few riders up here as we watch a young man with a Vuvuzuela making his way down towards the grid to watch this start here. The riders should be well prepared. I think that the final pre-race instructions have been given. You can hear our race announcers, Richard Fries and Brad Soner, making that final call now. So it looks like we are locked and loaded. Big-time bike racing back in Boulder, Colorado.
Dave, you've called bike racing all around the world. Is there a town out there that is more passionate about not only their cycling, but their cyclocross than Boulder, Colorado?
Boy, I don't know. Pound for pound, ounce for ounce, I don't think so. But the problem is your perspective. I live in Boulder. I love Boulder. But, yeah, they really take it seriously here. You know, Oregon deserves credit. The numbers, the party is insane. Every region has its specialty. But certainly here, the competitive aspect has always been what's defined Colorado cyclocross. And I tell you what, that's what nationals are all about, too. This is it. This one day, right here, right now. This is what bike racing is all about. I love listening to that race music, watching the crowd gathering right around the grid. This puts you on the edge of your seat. You can see they're starting to clear out the photographers now. So once they lock down this grid, in the sport of cyclocross, it really does work that the riders get a 1-minute warning, and then they go down to 30 seconds. When you hear 30 seconds until the race begins, it actually could happen at any moment, as they don't want the riders timing their start. They actually use a Christmas light type starting system over in Europe, but you can see now they are ready to bear down and hit out. This is it. 40 minutes of racing action begins here in Boulder, Colorado. Your junior men's 17-18 category is next.
Dave, you want to see some explosiveness? Watch these junior men. These guys blast off the line like nobody else in the sport. It's not rare to see one of the fastest laps. I would expect the fastest lap we've seen all week long on this first lap of the junior race. We've seen a couple guys go just under 8 minutes. Pete Weber went 7:50, and we are underway. Junior men on course right now. 17-18 national championships. Let's go, Dave.
Yeah, it looks like Max Chance had a really solid start there, but the whole shot.
That's Peter Gogan.
Yep, Gogan does it. So can he go wire to wire like that, Logan Owen yesterday? Boy, he is throttling it right now.
Out of the saddle, mouth closed. He looks so easy right now. He has the confidence of a man, as a junior man who has won so many races this year, been so dominant. He is putting his stamp. You're right. He's doing the Logan Owen. He's getting out in front. He's taking control of this race early on, and he's going to make everybody else try to come around him.
If you can start like that, breathing through your nose, you are a next-level cyclocross racer. Gogan is obviously the man to beat here today, but he's going to have to go up against a barrage out here. And I tell you, I think Max Chance is going to be one of these guys that's going to make it into a very rough 40 minutes for Gogan. You know, it's interesting. When you have a pretty clear favorite coming into the race, it does open up things, and that is going to be Max Chance slotting in at second wheel and then taking a look. Let's look at the top 5 right now.
Like
so obviously Gogan, then Chance.
Gogan, Chance.
Well, I think that's going to be the race CF rider, Austin Vincent, moving up into third, to tell you the truth.
Austin Vincent getting up there and going with his teammate, but all of your front row is up there looking very good right now. Cooper Wisely for Cyclocross World, he's in the mix as well. As you see, though, all these riders strung out. We have 58 junior riders out here.
Yeah, 58 riders might not sound like a lot, but when you have 50 guys that are all in the fight, it is a lot. And right now, boy, look, the gaps aren't even opening up, Colt. This field has so much depth.
You know, Dave, when we talk about Peter Gogan there at the front, really the hardest races he ever does is probably in his backyard. You know, we talk about some of the dynasties in the sport of cyclocross. The Gogan family is one of those dynasties. He's one of 10, maybe 11 kids out there. He has older brothers, Manny Gogan, Manny Gogan, Patrick Gogan. He's grown up racing around the backyard with his family pushing him, and he's the product of that environment. He's learned so much at an early age, and you see it here paying off. He is on fire. Max Chance, the Boulder local, hearing the hometown crowd scream for him. He's going to try and hold that wheel, and then Austin Vincent looking very solid in third wheel. Not sure he's going to come around at this point to chase down his teammate. Cooper Wisely is in there, the Hot Tubes rider, the Boo Bicycles rider in there, getting a very solid start, moving up into the top 10 as well.
Can I have the honor?
Go for it, Dave.
Listen, you can talk about cycling dynasty families, or you can talk about guys who have made these incredible runs in the sport. There's one guy that fits into both categories, and he's joining us right now. This is 7-time, and it was consecutive, junior national cyclocross champion, one of the nicest guys in the sport, and also one of the greatest families in the sport. Jesse Anthony, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. It's great to be here.
Hey, listen, man, I can think the goosebumps are already, I've got them right now. You can feel it with
I
Richard
do too.
Freeze going crazy on the microphone right now. The excitement at an all-time high for junior racing. This must make you smile.
It's absolutely incredible to be here and to watch this race up close. This is my first cyclocross nationals that I've been at since I quote-unquote retired from the sport a few years ago. And to be back here watching the junior race, like you said, hearing Rich Freeze just shout over the microphone, it was like yesterday I was out here.
Sure, not a lot has changed in some ways. The depth of the field looks like it's changed maybe a little since the days that you raced, because look at this top 20. There's some incredible names here, but right now it's a guy from basically your hometown, certainly your home region, Peter the man to beat.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I did look at the start list before the weekend coming in, and it was awesome to see nearly 60 juniors registered for this national championship race. And among that, a lot of the New England guys were up there in the UCI points, and yeah, it's pretty incredible to see.
Hey, I'm going to throw it back to you, Colt. Awfully cool. We're going to keep Jesse with us, I think, throughout this duration of this 40-minute race. But Colt, who went into the pit there? What's happening?
Looks like a couple of riders. We saw yesterday actually in that U23 race, some riders choosing to go into the pits early, taking a different tire tread for the first half of the lap compared to the second half back there. They call it the glades. It's the back half of the course, and it's still very greasy even today with the wind sweeping it out. But you look now, Austin Vincent, the teammate of Peter Gogan, has moved right up there into perfect position. Those two guys are in an awesome situation right now to really put the hammer down to Max Chance and some of these other riders. But Peter Gogan, unbelievably strong at this point in the race. We saw him on the tops, nose breathing, looking very easy, looking very comfortable on the backside of that course. And you said it, Dave, he's doing the Logan Owen. He's going for it from lap number 1. Let's see what he comes around in.
Yeah, that was Josie Wyke up there for the Red Zone team as well. Now, yesterday, Jesse, they're saying that some of these riders were, and specifically Logan Owen, starting on Typhoons, doing that first half lap until he made his way into the pit, and then switching to a more aggressive mud tire that he used later in the race. It certainly shows an amazing level of strategy, and there you go. We're seeing yesterday what Cody Kaiser was doing. This is unbelievable. What a level we're looking at right here, Colt.
The skill on these riders at such a young age is insane. We saw Cody Kaiser do it yesterday. Max Chance, the Boulder local, he's seen those stairs probably 1,000 times in training. He rode them flawlessly this afternoon, and he's holding strong in there with that podium opportunity.
Your thoughts on that technique?
That was absolutely incredible. I did a few laps of the course yesterday, and as you mentioned with the tires, it's really a toss-up of whether you want the fast tires or the mud tires, because the course is so diverse. So either way you go, I think you just got to stick to your guns.
You know what I love, Jesse? It's the mindset. It's like looking for that 1%. Any tactical advantage you can take. Even if it didn't necessarily give him a second out there on the race course, it showed me he was all in for the win, racing that way. I love when you have racers thinking everything through.
Absolutely. Equipment choice is all about confidence, and what you learn is that when you pick a tire choice or a tire pressure, someone else might be doing something different, but you got to stick with what you're confident in and just run it. And then if you're confident in that mentally, then that's your gun.
Colt, these winds are insane right now down here at the finish line area. Jesse, you ever racing winds like this in your career?
I don't remember anything this windy except for maybe Kansas City when it was icy cold that one year.
Is it going to make a difference out there, Colt? I got a feeling we're going to see this play have an effect on the race.
This is a huge difference. We saw the wind. It was a really big factor yesterday. It was sort of weird. It just died down right before the start. You thought maybe it was going to go away, but it has come back right now entirely. Riders there bobbling over. It looks like I got a Keogh in there as well. That might be...
That was Chris Key that bobbled up over the top of those steps there. Young man also on that Boulder Cyclosport team. But wow, it's going to be a chaotic day, bedlam here at Valmont Bike Park. You're looking at 58 of the top junior riders from around the country. And when we say around the country, we really do mean it. I mean, we really have touched every corner of this great land. And right now, once again, going back to the front, let's start picking up that action, because there you go. There is our race leader.
Here is your leader now, and look at that gap. It's starting to shrink a little bit. So Peter Gogan off the front right now with a very early lead, but his Max Chance very similar to yesterday's race where we saw Yannick Ekman just sitting back, stalking. Those riders from altitude, they know how to play it here. They know not to sprint across that gap and go into the red zone too early and blow. He's keeping him in his sights, and he's slowly reeling him in. I wouldn't be surprised, Dave, as we come onto the start-finish stretch here after lap number 1 to see those two make contact. But Austin Vincent, he is still in there as well. That was Ian Keogh back there for the Corner Cycle Cycling Club, or the Keogh Brothers Cyclocross team. He's riding up well from his start position on the 3rd row.
You know, Jesse, I don't know if it's so much tactic as understanding biomechanics at this point in the bike race. What do you think?
You know, you heard Todd Wells mention it yesterday during the under-23 race about Yannick Ekman jumping across that gap.
Right.
And he had to pick it off slowly, and that's exactly what Max Chance is going to try to do here. And being an altitude guy, he probably has a little more experience with that. Peter Gogan's obviously going out really strong right now.
Look at the clock here, Dave. We are going to go just about 8 minutes on the nose. Wow. Logan Owen yesterday did an 8:08 on his first lap. The junior rider, Peter Gogan, going to do 8:04, a little bit drier, but not much. This is insane. We got Max Chance coming across. Austin Vincent looks over his shoulder, and that is going to be...
Unlike yesterday, actually, and we'll find out who that was right behind at Max Chance. They're filling in your top 10.
Bib number 63, that is going to be Lance Hayden for the Bear Development
There
Team.
you go.
Getting on. Then you see the Boulder Cyclosport rider going to come around. Cooper Wisely there, the Hot Tubes rider. They are in groups today, Dave. The headwind down this home stretch really favoring the group racing, at least for this section of the course. Ian McShane with the pain face holding on to the back of that group.
Yeah, without question, the depth is unbelievable. That's what we've learned out here on lap number 1 in this junior field. I mean, you are looking at a lap that was faster than Logan Owen, considered one of the greatest American cross racers of all time already at 19. These junior riders are throwing down times. Yeah, conditions are a little bit different, a little bit faster track out there today, but what we're watching is absolutely amazing. A changing of the guard happening right now. So there is Peter Gogan. That is our race leader. He is absolutely coming in as our favorite, and that is going to be his main challenger, Max Chance. Chance giving up maybe 7-8 seconds right now.
That's right, Dave. And what you saw Peter Gogan do down the start-finish late was take a deep breath and relax and really just kind of contain himself. And that's exactly what you have to do at altitude like this. He obviously went out super fast with a blazing first lap, so it'll be interesting to see if he can handle the altitude conditions, and if he doesn't blow himself, he certainly has a good gap right now.
Look at this group of 6 juniors right here. It's Austin Vincent on the front leading the charge, but these 6 riders, this is becoming a tactical battle. Maybe a preview of what we're going to see in that elite men's race. Very evenly matched, and with the winds out here today, they are very, very close together.
Riding out of his mind, another Boulder native, Grant Elwood, sitting up there 4th in that group. We mentioned Lance Hayden was there as well. So a lot of our pre-race favorites, pretty much the entire front row, that top 8 riders being called up, all chasing this man. As we look at, once again, at Peter Gogan. Talk to us about the Gogan family really quickly, Jesse. As the Anthony family, is it? It's not a Hatfield McCoy situation there, is it?
Yeah, you know, they're definitely a little bit of maybe a half generation behind my brother Josh and I, but and my older sister, of course. But yeah, it's awesome to see the Gogan family out there. They got the trailer, they got the full support at all the races.
Kind of like the Keoghs as well,
Kind of like the
right?
Keoghs, yeah. It's awesome. I love seeing these families out there with full support and just getting into it together.
Now that's going to be Vincent that we're looking at here, Austin Vincent, who really is I would say what Tim Johnson is to Jerry Powers. Austin Vincent and Peter Gogan are to each other. They race every weekend and travel together as well.
Austin Vincent going to lead there. We got the Boulder Cyclosport rider. That will be, just lost him here.
Well, let's go ahead and once again take a look at Pete's Plunge, one of the more technical features of this course. This off-camber, whether it's dry, wet, there's no easy way to ride around here, and that's going to be our lead group now, our lead chase group rolling by.
Right, that was Grant Elwood, for the Boulder Junior
And
Cycling
Elwood is
team.
the rider having the breakthrough ride here right now today. Now, Max Chance is expected to be on the podium, and most people anticipated that kind of a result from him. But once again, all right, this is the king of junior cycling today in our 17-18 category, Peter Gogan. Hometown for the Gogans?
No, they're from the South Shore.
South Shore,
So not
okay.
much of a rivalry going on there, but the opposite side of Boston. So
Peter Gogan may have one of the best poker faces in all of cyclocross. Dave, he just looks so easy right now. We saw Logan Owen putting down these lap times yesterday, and he had that grimace on his face. He was working. We see Peter there. He's breathing through his nose. He's on the tops of the bars. He's just spinning so easily right now. I don't know if it's a poker face or if he's just that good.
It might be both. To tell you the truth, Cooper Wilsley is the final rider trying to tag on to this group, as he's the rider out of Vermont. We're trying to identify the rest of the guys. I actually believe that blue jersey that you associate so often with New England cycling, the Hot Tubes team, but that's actually a rider coming out of Boise that we're looking at there, Ethan Reynolds. So that is a national program, even though they have New England roots. So you'll
Austin Vincent out of the saddle, laying it down, Dave. These guys are going after each other. These juniors, they're not patient enough to sit around in a group and wait for 40 minutes. These guys are going at each other every single chance they get.
Vincent, Hayden, Elwood are the three that have made that selection, and then it does look like Reynolds is the rider in blue there, trying to tag back onto that chase group. But they've got two riders that they're chasing right now. Once again, if you flash forward to the front of this bike race, it's Peter Gogan, reigning supreme, Max Chance hanging. It looks like the gap, to me, Cole, I'm going to say it's gone over 10 seconds right now, as that the separation between our leader, he's starting to open it up a little bit right now. Just each minute, he seems to add 2 seconds now.
Coming into the Belgian steps here, very good technique for Peter Gogan. Like we said, one of the benefits of growing up in a cyclocross family is you have your older brothers and sisters to help teach you and learn at a very easy age. Early technique, here comes Max Chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like Cody Kaiser did yesterday, pumping his way up there. Dave, we talked about it. It's almost like a dolphin kick underwater. You can build momentum as you're hopping up those stairs. Sometimes it's not quite faster to ride sections like that. We looked at it yesterday. It is actually faster. Now, Austin Vincent, he's narrowed that group down to 3. We see the Boulder Cyclosport rider there and the Bear Development rider holding strong. And then Jesse, the Hot Tubes rider, a former program for you.
yeah, I was on Hot Tubes about 10 years ago.
Jesse, let me ask you about jumping those stairs really quickly here.
Yeah.
So maybe even if it's an incremental amount of time that you gain, is there a psychological advantage with the crowd going nuts for you? They anticipate you coming. You know what I'm saying?
I think when you're so focused like that, doing something like that, you certainly get a crowd reaction, but he's really doing it to save energy. Speed-wise, it's same as hopping barriers. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's not. But if you don't have to run, then you can save your energy, stay focused, stay on your bike, and yeah, it is a little bit risky though, because if you do mess up, you're going to lose a lot more time.
Yeah, interesting with the power of the internet. I believe it's Gavin Haley is actually the Red Zone rider that has been up there dangling in and out of that chase group right now. But as we pick up the action here, we're going now to chase 1, Colt, as this has been Austin Vincent's group that he's really been driving here for the better part of the last lap and a half. Things haven't really changed too much behind him, because Bend, Oregon, that's going to be Lance Hayden, and then Grant Elwood having an incredible ride. Actually, you know, he's been very, very consistent. Let's say a breakthrough ride on the national level for Elwood here today. He looks comfortable holding onto that wheel right now of Hayden, but the gap is opening because there goes Vincent. Vincent looks like that chicken flying the coop here.
Hayden makes a little bit of a bobble there over the barriers and then flustered a bit, makes another bobble immediately after that, and that's all it takes. The gap has opened up, but those 3 riders very close together. But like we said, Dave, at the front of this right now, Peter Gogan is just untouchable. You see that gap continuing to grow and grow. We look back now, no sign of Max Chance. Max really came in as the co-favorite, you could argue. He hasn't had the best season results-wise, but being the hometown favorite, knowing the course, a lot of people thought it was going to be a drag-it-out one-on-one race that whole time, but Peter Gogan obviously did his homework over the holidays. One of those riders over at the Euro Cross Camp, one of the great programs that Jeff Proctor puts on. Most of these juniors, they've seen each other a lot. They've actually lived together over in Europe these last few weeks, racing some World Cups and some top European races. it's always a gamble how you're going to come back from that. Either you get some great training in over there, you learn some skills, and you come back and can apply it, or maybe the travel takes a lot out of you. You get back and you're just totally smoked. I think you're seeing a balance of those two things out here today.
Jesse, it seems to me, with what you did on the road as well, the camaraderie is such an important part of the travel.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But even at a competition like this, you can be racing your best friend. Once you get out there on the race course, it's all business. And it's really impressive to see Peter Gogan totally composed, riding his own race. He's in cruise control right now,
Coming
but he's
across
just so
the line
talented.
there, Jesse, 16:04 on the clock, so he sped it up, did a faster lap, went under 8 minutes on lap number 2, 7:59. That may be, like I said, I think Pete Weber did a 7 low 50s, but that is the second fastest lap of this national championship.
Max Chance's 2-lap time would have him exactly with Logan Owen yesterday. Okay, conditions a little bit different, but Chance right now is riding out of his mind. If it weren't for Peter Gogan, we would be saying that he is the next massive thing. And now it got tactical back in that next
Here
group.
we go. Who's it going to be? Boulder Cyclesport Jr. He's going to take it out right now. Elwood on the outside. He is not going to wait around, but Austin Vincent, these guys, a lot of them very savvy road racers during the summer. They are not going for the win anymore. They are fighting. That last step on the podium is going to be a blood fight.
And about 15 minutes into the race is where the altitude's really going to start taking effect. So a guy from out here might have an advantage, and that's why he had the energy to attack there on the finish straight.
Yep, Elwood is born and raised in Boulder, Colorado, and he's also racing in front of a lot of friends and family here today. He's not going to sit in a group like that for long before something inside of him is going to explode. And clearly we saw that as Elwood attacking out of that chase group. Now you're looking at Max Chance here, the Cliff Bar rider. Cliff Bar, I mean, Taylor Finney, Alex Howes, Brady Capias, Pete Stetna, all of these kids rode for Cliff Bar. Jesse Anthony, everybody who's anybody in the sport of cycling rode for Cliff Bar at one time or another in their career. They are bike racing's best friend.
Look at this, though. Elwood coming off the second row today. He is attacked now. He is in podium position right now. He's got the bronze medal around his neck, but here comes Austin Vincent. He wants to make it a 1-3 right now, putting that Team CF program on the podium, putting Massachusetts, putting New England on the map. One of the riders having a great ride is that Boo Bicycles rider. That is Brandon Fix coming off the third row. He's ridden his way up into the top 10. A very, very strong ride.
Brandon Fix from Fort Collins, Colorado. We're going back now to pick up our leader. Right at the midway point of this race, he looks almost unbeatable to me, Jesse.
He's absolutely dialed in right now on this course, and barring any incident, it's hard to see anyone coming around him.
Yeah, this gap, it looks like it's gone to at least 15 seconds right now. Back to Max Chance, and there is the Cliff Bar rider sitting second wheel, another one of our hometown favorites here. Nothing like racing at Valmont Bike Park in your backyard. We talked about this being the crown jewel of Boulder. Well, Max Chance is, I guess he's the crown prince, because he's certainly chasing hard right now. Peter Gogan is our leader. Now, let's start filling in. So another Boulder-based rider starting to close in on that group. Oh, what an exceptional effort from Grant Elwood here today for Boulder Cyclesport.
Oh my God, Elwood is riding off the front of that chase group right now. He is unstoppable. One of those protege riders of guys like Brandon Dwight and Pete Weber. He's run these stairs, Dave, a million times probably in the last 12 months, preparing for this day, and then the hot tubes right there.
Yeah, that's Ethan Reynolds. What a ride for Reynolds out of Boise, Idaho.
Holding on to fifth place.
An incredible development program, and they are really having their moment in the sun. Okay, you're looking at chase number 1, the individual rider there in that Cliff Bar jersey. That is Max Chance. Max just at 17 years old. Oh, nice bike handling skills right there, Jesse.
Absolutely on the edge, but what an incredible ride from Elwood. And to see him closing the gap at this point in the race, that's really impressive. What an effort.
You really do feel like you're falling off the edge of planet Earth right there on Pete's Plunge.
And then we got hanging on to that chase group, Dave. He's been there all race long, just sitting in. Very smart ride right now for Lance Hayden, the Bear Development rider. That was actually the program that Tobin Ortenbland graduated from to the Cal Giant. We saw him take a top 5 ride. Oh, getting a little squirrely there is the other Cliff Bar rider out there. I believe that was Gertjar.
Yeah, we are, and yeah, there you go. I think that, well, we were talking about Ian McShane a little bit earlier. That's going to be, I believe, Josie White. So McShane just a little bit further forward right now, picking up the action as everybody chasing Peter Gogan and Max Chance. That's Ethan Reynolds in the middle of your screen there in the blue, the star coming out of Boise. And as we go forward now, we get a look, 72, that's Elwood. Elwood is having a ride of a lifetime today. What a place to do it in your backyard.
Yeah, it's an absolutely impressive effort. And, yeah, like I said, to be closing down on the front runners is that's quite a feat.
Didn't see that one coming, to tell you the truth, Colt. Jesse is right. Typically, once the race explodes like this, you don't see guys coming back to together. He usually continues to blow apart. Well, not today. This is quite a dynamic junior race.
And not always at altitude. As we saw yesterday, we saw Curtis White, a rider from New England. He got a very strong, from New York. I don't want to upset the New Yorkers out there. Had a very strong start chasing after Logan Owen, paid the price. We saw maybe the same thing now here happening with Austin Vincent. Went out for that very early, hard pace at altitude. Once you can maybe recover from it, but it's very rare that you're able to put in that effort a second time or even a third time. We saw Peter Gogan. He looked incredibly smooth from the beginning, and he does not seem to be attacking any more than he needs to. He's riding very steady, very calm out there, and just maintaining that lead.
He obviously is following the lead of what Logan Owen did yesterday.
Yeah, he's riding within his comfort zone, and that makes a huge difference. You can just stay so much more confident, so much more focused on what you're doing.
One of the more technical features, obviously, the sand pit that they ride through here. That's Brandon Fix. We mentioned the rider from Fort Collins. Once again, looking at Max Chance just brilliantly handling those stairs. We saw it done yesterday by Kaiser. Obviously, the guys have been working on this technique. It is unbelievably cool to watch.
Unbelievable skills right there. You see now that group, though, kind of coming back together. Austin Vincent continues to dig and reach down into that just finding that pit somewhere of courage to come back across that gap. He's going to get himself on the wheel, hopefully, before they hit this home stretch again. They're out there now on the back section, the glades, as they make their way into the barriers.
What do you think, Jesse? Did our leaders go out a little too hard early? Are they possibly in trouble?
I think Peter Gogan looks very much under control. You can tell by his technique and his riding style that he hasn't overextended himself. Max Chance, he's obviously having a great ride right now.
It looks like we're going to be talking about the silver medal quite a bit, doesn't it now?
We're going to see a fight for the silver medal because that gap continues to close between Elwood and Max Chance.
As a matter of fact, I have a feeling it'll be less than 5 seconds. Here we get that look, well, maybe a little bit more than 5. So Chance certainly not throwing in the towel. He is still racing for the win. He's got the bit between his teeth. So, boy, he is really right in that sandwich right now as the guy's coming in hot from behind him, and the pressure continues to be applied.
There it is, a little bobble out of Max Chance, and that might just be enough for Elwood to see the gap close enough and smell blood. And at this stage in the race, this is when you're starting to get tired. There's still a long way to go. They're only about halfway. And this is when small mistakes can start to get really big.
Yeah, Elwood also on that Cliff Bar team. Now, the other two riders in that group, one is Lance Hayden, the Bear Development rider out of Bend, and then also Ethan Reynolds from Boise.
Ethan Reynolds has really come strong here midway through this race, riding his way across the gap into that chase group. He's now put his name in the hat for a podium position. He is unstoppable coming across the group there. Austin Vincent, though, continues to look strong. This is going to be a great battle. It looks as though that silver medal, though, still may be up for grabs. Bib number 68
That's
there.
Garrett Gerchar and then Brandon Fix. So two of the very well-known Colorado-based riders. These guys have locked horns many, many times. And then Gavin Haley is the red zone rider that we're looking at, thanks to Larry Miles on Twitter for keeping us up to speed out there.
Colorado is swamping the top 10 right now, but it is still the Northeast at the front that is dominating. Peter Gogan, really quick, if we could, let's talk about Peter Gogan, the Team CF program. CF, of course, cystic fibrosis. That's really their mission with that team, is to get the word out about it. Let's talk about it for a second. Two of his brothers, actually, I believe, suffer with CS. They're still out there racing cyclocross. They're out there to spread the word about bike racing, how it can help with healthy living and help treat that and help live with that. And it's great to see those guys out there flying that flag.
Yeah, right now at the lap counter, as we turn it over to Jesse to answer that question, he is seeing 2 to go, talking about Peter Gogan. Tell me about how CF has impacted that family.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting story, and really, like Colt said, it's really motivating to see them just pushing through it and not necessarily ignoring it, but not letting it cramp their lifestyle.
Yeah, Manny Gogan, one of the top racers as a junior at U23 and in the elite fields over the last few years. He has CF, and like you said, you don't forget about it, but he definitely helps fly the flag for other people with CF and showing them just what you can do with something like that. I mean, years ago, it was thought that you really were limited to not being able to compete, not being able to be an athlete. Manny Gogan has totally flipped the script with that and shown what you can do, not only in athletics, but at the highest possible level. Now, back onto that home stretch, we see Austin Vincent. He's very calm, going to adjust the shoes there. It seems again, though, Dave, like the wind has died down. It's incredible. We get gusts upwards of 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, and then it just totally dies like this. It makes the tactics out here very back and forth.
Yeah, and you can see Ethan Reynolds was taking advantage of exactly that. Jesse, as they came into the home stretch, he realized there was no wind. If he was going to close the gap down, this was the moment. Bike racing is about explosions and moments, isn't it?
Absolutely, Dave. And like we said, we have been watching Grant Elwood close that gap down to Max Chance. Well, he actually lost a little bit of time by the start-finish line, and you could see that group had caught back up to him.
Yeah, it looks like about a 15-second gap or so at this point between the silver and the bronze.
It might be going back out the other way.
Well, the Gavin Haley group very well could become the Ian McShane group as well very quickly, as those two riders out of the Ohio Valley region are starting to come together. It looks like a group of four. The penultimate lap has begun now. So right now I would say it's been almost a minute and a half or so that Peter Gogan has been out on course. So he's about down to a lap and a half to go here in his run at a championship race today.
Did Elwood have a problem now? Because now he's dangling on the back of that group.
Looks like Elwood, we saw him launch that vicious attack into the headwind early on coming through after lap number 1. It looks like maybe now he's starting to pay the price for that. Austin Vincent, he's been very patient with his teammate up the road.
That's
he now
Gogan.
moves back into position, but Peter Gogan continues to run away with this. The really interesting story here now is that rider in between, Max Chance. It does not look like he's going to make contact. He's there in no man's land. Did he go a little too deep into the well, and is he going to come back? He's got 3 riders behind chasing.
Yeah, we really are talking about a battle for silver right now, and that's what we're going to pick up here. So Max Chance has been a big part of this conversation up to now, but I think things are going to start. Well, and once again, we're getting a look at Max Chance. He's got 59 on his shoulder. Well, actually, we're talking about bronze, to be honest now, Jesse. It's starting to look like to me, and here they are. These are the men that fill in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the rest of the podium rolling by right now. So that's going to be Austin Vincent. It hasn't actually changed too much. Austin Vincent, then in the blue jersey, you're looking at Ethan Reynolds, and then right behind him, that's the man that we thought maybe was going to bring his teammate Max Chance back, but now looking like he's in a little trouble. That's Grant Elwood.
That's right. And another thing to keep an eye on here is Cooper Wilsley. He's the top 17-year-old in the race.
Red.
So look into next year, who's going to be the junior coming up when these guys all graduate to the U23 category.
We talk about the difference that a year makes, Dave. I mean, you think about this, Logan Owen, he's just a year older than these riders here in the junior men's race. He was the defending junior national champion. Look what he's been able to upgrade to now, move on. A lot of these riders, they're just inches away from being one of the top professionals here in North America.
I really do believe when you talk about Logan Owen, you're talking about a world-class athlete. And there's a big difference, isn't there, Jesse, between national class and world class?
Then watching him come up a few years behind me in the junior ranks and just continue to win at the level he was at and to continue that into the U23s in a dominant fashion, it's really been impressive to watch.
Not to say Peter Gogan isn't, but I think Peter Gogan is a step or two behind right now. Logan Owen, as we said yesterday, really has the experience of a 28-year-old, the enthusiasm of a 14-year-old, and the mind of Einstein. So here we go, picking up the action right now. This is going to be a really.
So that's Cooper Wisely there sitting on the back for the Cyclocross World program.
That we were looking at there as well,
leading that group. That Cyclocross World program, and just a huge development program, not only for juniors but into the elite ranks. Jesse, you've been a product of Stu Thorne in that program.
Well.
Tim Johnson, Crystal Anthony. We've seen so many riders in the Northeast benefit from the support of that program and the expertise of guys like Tim Johnson and Jesse, and obviously Stu Thorne there at Cyclocross World. We see them riding very strong here at the sharp end of the race. But that Hot Tubes rider right there, Dave,
Reynolds,
that is going to be Reynolds.
Yep.
He's impressing me right now more than anybody else in that group. He's been very smart tactically throughout this race. We see him now finally for the first time taking the lead in that chase. He's popped the Boulder Cyclosport rider, Elwood, off the wheel now, and Austin Vincent seems to be under pressure.
Think how hard it is, Jesse, to impress the cyclocross world racing out of Boise. You know what I mean? It's like you've got to get in front of the right people, in front of the right cameras, like Behind the Barriers TV. And here he is. He's got his moment. He's making the most of it. That always impresses me with a bike racer. When you put the pressure on a guy like Ethan Reynolds and he delivers, a lot of people don't realize that he's up against that.
Yeah, Dave, that's the beauty of the national championships. Is it's the one race that means the most, and it's the race that you take school off of. You ask your parents to buy you a plane ticket. You get out here, you make the effort, and you just train all year. This is the focus of the season, and that's why it's awesome to have a race like this, to see the guys who may have been racing in a place like New England where there's so many UCI races, they can rack up the points.
Yeah, I agree. Colt, the wind dying down that you talked about 10 minutes ago, it hasn't changed. It's actually still pretty calm right here.
It's coming and going, Dave, and like we said, it's really changing the tactics. When that wind hits at the right time, you really need to be on a wheel. When it opens up like this, a great opportunity to go at it solo, try and establish that gap while you can, as you see excuse me, Peter Gogan coming back into the barriers now, just about past the halfway point in this race, looking very strong there, riding for Team CF.
Gentlemen, I don't think I'm going to put either one of you on the spot. Talking about Peter Gogan looks very good for the win. Max Chance, to me, looks solid for silver. It's really going to be this battle now for bronze. I think we're going to be talking about quite a bit here. Jesse, your strategy, your tactic out of this group? Do you try to stay in there as long as you can and sprint with them?
No, I think you really want to get away on this course. With the sprint and the wind conditions, you never want to let it come down to a sprint if you can. And these guys have been throwing some punches. At times you can see them riding a little bit more reserved, maybe collecting themselves. But I think in the last lap here, you're going to see them really throwing the punches and trying to get away.
You know, some of these riders out here are more of a cyclocross specialist than others, but the Hot Tubes rider out there, Reynolds, he has a very strong road pedigree. He's a very good sprinter. He's very good tactically. We've seen it all race long. Whether or not he gets off the front of that group or comes down to a sprint, I expect him to be very smart. If they come out of the Glades area, they have that one chicane here behind the dirt jumps. They call that Grasshopper, and then they make a 180, and it is a long, straight headwind sprint. I expect him to be in great position, and at this point, my money is going to be on Elwood, or excuse me, on Reynolds to take the bronze medal.
Yeah, I would probably sign off on that too, Colt. We're looking at Reynolds right now here in the blue jersey. In the center of your screen, the Hot Tubes rider. Toby Stanton runs that program out of Massachusetts. He's been one of the stalwart cornerstone junior development programs, getting riders over to Europe, whether it's road or cyclocross riders. Really, I mean, he finds the most talented riders from around the country, has for what, is it 15 years?
Oh, over 20 years now. He started with Jonathan Page and Robbie Dapis.
Wow.
There's some names for you. That's how far back Toby goes with this junior program. But it's unbelievable. And, you know, we've been talking about development teams, and there's the Cliff Bar development team, there's Hot Tubes, the Cyclocross World. I've ridden for all these programs in the past. It's so great to see them out here at the National Championships. And I got to give a shout out to the Essex County Velo rider out there.
Jonathan Anderson.
Jonathan Anderson. A North Shore boy just like myself, and it's really awesome to see him out here at the National Championships.
32 minutes on the clock. Peter Gogan will get one lap to go. Just one more lap of this Valmont Bike Park, standing between Peter Gogan and the Stars and Stripes jersey of the Junior National Championship.
He started to look a little tired there. I think he was bobbing his shoulders a bit.
A little bit, but he looks like a stone-cold killer to me.
This is as close to a perfect race as you can race
really,
in cyclocross. The kid's been flawless all day.
I guess that's fair to say, Colt. That's a next-level guy, too. I mean, he definitely is going to be racing in the podiums in the elites.
Max Chance now gets onto the start-finish stretch, out of the saddle. No sign of weakness still. A great ride for Max Chance. He's going to come through. He will get one lap to go. So just about 8.5 minutes here with 32 minutes on the clock. They're going to go a little bit over 40 minutes, but it should be just spot on for these junior men. Now we will wait, though. Peter Gogan is away. We wait on the start-finish line. We'll let you guys know as soon as that group comes through. Here we go. So it's the Hot Tubes rider. I see spit dripping off the face of Austin Vincent. He is so deep in the pain cave right now, he can only see the rear wheel of that Hot Tubes rider. He is going to stick that for the next 8.5 minutes and see what he can do in that sprint day. But I think those two are coming down to the line together.
Well, and they got to still worry about Grant Elwood. He is digging in once again. That's one of the things about the kids who come from this altitude. Even though, and everybody who's spoken about going too deep, too long, puts you in trouble is absolutely right. But the kids from Boulder come good quicker as well.
It's just what they're used to.
It absolutely is. And it looks like Elwood, to me, with one lap to go, might be a part of that conversation again for that bronze medal. Everybody at that line getting the bell. So let's recap really quickly here with one to go.
That's Nolan Brady there, the Rad Racing Northwest rider coming through, leading Cooper Wisely inside the top 10. These guys, a few of these riders as we get back, like Jesse pointed out with Cooper, are still 17. They've got another year in the junior categories. This is really a recon race for them, learning what it takes. They're going to come back next year as the favorites for the national championships. At the front, though, continuing to extend his lead, continuing to look strong. I got to think the whole Gogan family is at home right now cheering at their TV screens, cheering him on. He is so close, Jesse. He can taste it. Tell me about the last lap. You've been in this position 7 times before with a Stars and Stripes jersey waiting for you. Anything can go wrong. Tell me about the pressure. Are you enjoying it at this point? How nervous are you?
I think he's still super. He's got the laser eyes right now, and I think the one thought he's probably got going through his head is don't crash.
Do they get sweeter as they tally? Is the first the best?
The first.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
It's so hard to say. They do get sweeter, but at the same time, everyone is just amazing. It's such an incredible honor, and like what an accomplishment to win a national championship.
Colt, getting back to what you were talking about earlier with the age-graded juniors here, obviously there's some guys that will be racing again in this category next year. Even when you go down in the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old groups, you hear the parents making sure that everybody knows that their son is in that younger age group and will be back next year. This is such a competitive sport. It really is. And here we go. The action hotting up once again.
Coming into those stairs, we're going to see that chase group fighting for the bronze medal here any second.
We do have Austin Vincent maybe closing that gap down
There we go.
again.
Austin Vincent takes the lead now. He puts himself in position. He is going to lead down Pete's plunge, Pete Weber's famous off-camber corner here with the WD-40 bike banners along at a very sketchy off-camber, very sketchy off-camber section, and he's back in the lead. Austin Vincent, every single time I think this kid is down, he gets back up and he goes to the front, Dave. He has the heart of a champion out here this afternoon. He's really putting the paces. They've completely dropped, Elwood, the Boulder Cycle Sport rider. He is alone right now in 5th place, but 3rd and 4th. This is the battle we're going to be watching here on this final lap as they come across that off-camber section.
Look at how close those two guys are.
Yeah.
Dave, you're right. This is going to come down to a sprint for that bronze medal.
It's starting to look like it. He just cannot shake Reynolds either. It has been, as they say, body blow after body blow being thrown in that bronze medal battle. So now, once again, we're talking about Peter Gogan. He looks so solid on the front. I mean, this guy has been a rock. He's going to go wire to wire, it looks like. Now, Max Chance sitting in 2nd wheel right now. It's going to be very, very interesting to hear what's going on behind that wheel of Chance. All right, we're looking at some of the different features on the course. That's Max Chance, the familiar form of the Boulder, Colorado-based rider that we are looking at.
He still looks really fluid, Dave. He's still giving her, and he's not going to give up until he gets to that finish line.
Yeah, I wonder, is he feeling the pressure coming from behind him as well? As, boy, the atmosphere here at the venue is really starting to amp up. As you can hear this, the noisy, the crowd, just amazing.
You know, we talked about Peter Gogan having a perfect race. You look at Max Chance, he's been riding incredible. He's been so smooth in all these technical sections. He's ridden almost flawlessly, Dave. And
yeah,
a silver medal in this position is a pretty good ride.
Yeah, Jesse, I don't think we've seen anyone put together as good of a ride from start to finish as what we've seen from Gogan here today. The interesting thing to me, though, how about Max Chance? He hasn't made many mistakes either, and yet he's still sitting really not within striking distance of our current race leader, that being Peter Gogan. So Gogan, Chance, and then in just a moment, I think our cameras are going to show that blue jersey as that's our leader that we're looking at
Gogan
right now.
That's the Team CF rider on the S-Works Specialized bike. He is making his way to the finish line very shortly now on the backside of that course, the Glades. He is just about a quarter lap away now as he makes his way into these barriers.
Yeah, he hits Grasshopper, or the sector that they call Grasshopper, in just a moment here now. But we are watching the flawless execution. This young man has dismantled Valmont Bike Park here today. So the future of American cyclocross in very, very good hands right now as we continue to watch Peter Gogan. This is the sector of the course that we do call Grasshopper. So he's now in the run to the finish.
Waiting and waiting here at the finish line. The anxiety builds. Like we said, he's so clear right now. He's got it all but locked up, but this is cyclocross, Dave. One corner, one rolled tire, one problem. Anything can go wrong. Like Jesse said, he has got the laser focus right now. He is not taking anything for granted, and he continues to extend that lead here. He's going to make his way around the back section. We're going to see him here on the finish line very, very shortly now. Max Chance making his way through the barriers. He looks solid.
He won't be caught either. No, he looks like he's in pretty good shape, Colt. He really does.
That gap is stretched out now, getting close to 30 seconds.
All right, so we're going to be watching now Max Chance riding really about 2 miles away from his home right here in Valmont Bike Park. This young man born and raised in Boulder, Colorado. You know, it's so often that you have a great rider come along at the same time as another great rider in this sport, Jesse.
Absolutely, Dave. And you know what? This is the national championships. The second place might hurt a little bit, but what an incredible ride. He should be very proud of his efforts today and the season that he's put together this year.
Boy, I'm really wondering what's going to happen behind him. I think that's going to be the big conversation for the next couple minutes here as we're going to be tracking that bronze medal battle. So we've been talking about Ethan Reynolds from Boise, Idaho, part of this Boise Young Rider Development Squad. They've been sending literally dozens of riders to the national championships each year, whether it's road, mountain bike, or cyclocross. They really caught the fever of bike racing in the state of Idaho going back about 6-7 years ago. And let's see if Ethan Reynolds can put them on this very exclusive. This is one of the blue ribbon events of cyclocross, junior men 17-18. So here he is, Peter Gogan, coming into the finishing straight. He has put together a flawless ride today, and Gogan is the king of junior cyclocross in America.
What a ride. That was incredible. And, you know, these guys are also developing it so quickly at this age that, yeah, there's a difference between him and what Logan Owen has been doing, but next year, watch out for that guy in the U23 ranks.
I am with you 100%, Jesse. Now, I'm going to say the same thing about the next man coming across the line. A lot of pressure on the shoulders of Max Chance, and you're going to see the Cliff Bar rider. You know, and this is really one of the strongholds for Cliff Bar Sports here in Boulder, Colorado, and they're going to be awfully proud to see what this man did today. As we should be watching coming into the home straight. There
he is feeling a lot of love coming down the finish line right now. What a ride by Max Chance.
Boulder, Colorado is a Cliff Bar kind of town. No doubt about it. There he is, getting the love that he deserves, and he should be proud. He should be happy. Oh, and look at this. Behind him, it looks like Austin Vincent has been able, we're going to see this on screen in just a moment, Vincent was able to jump clear of Ethan Reynolds. And so Austin Vincent will claim bronze today. So that will put two men out of New England up on that podium. Race CF really delivers. And then, hey, congratulations to Ethan Reynolds, the young man out of Boise, for fourth today. They call that, I think, the chocolate medal in this sport.
The podium here at the National Championships going 5.
Sorry, 6th place has already come in.
Winner Peter Gogan. Peter, you've been winning all season long from Providence on Bay State MBX. How rewarding is this national championship for you today?
It's unbelievable. I've been on the podium so many times before, and to actually get a win it's just surreal. It's simply amazing.
You have a world's invite on the line here. How important was it for you to go hard off the line? You had that amazing hole shot and just hit it from the start.
Yeah, I mean, I felt great, and right away, I got my pedal in, and I just was like, I'll hit it. So what? I'll get the hole shot. You know, to be on the camera first would be great, and I did that, and I was able to sustain around 85%, and that was enough to, you know, start to get a gap on Max Chance, and he was the one I was most worried about. He lives here, he's used to the altitude, and just to be able to sustain 85% for the whole race was the plan, and then kind of hit it. I started to hit it harder later in the race, maybe with 2 to go, to just make sure that I could have the big enough gap to hold off on the last lap.
At this altitude, to be able to sustain at that level that long, were you concerned about being able to do that and hold off a local guy like Max?
Yes, I was, definitely. I looked back and saw him. He was always right there, right in the rearview mirror, and you know, it wasn't until 2 to go when my gap actually started to get bigger, and that's when I started to not worry as much, was with around 2 to go. But before that, like, even with 1 to go, my legs started cramping. I was like, oh man, the altitude's kicking in. He lives here, he could be holding back, and then hit it really hard in the last lap, knowing that I don't live here and that I'm not used to it. So I was always worried until I crossed the line.
You crossed the line first, locks in a world's invite for you, automatic nomination now. Will you go to the World Championships when you get that phone call?
We'll see. Most likely we'll see. I'll have to, I don't know, we'll see.
Congratulations, Peter.
Okay.
To interview, 5 seconds. Seconds. Your mic's open.
Okay, let's go, boys. Take it easy. I'm here with Max Chance, men's runner-up today. Max, with your, you're in line for a World's Team selection already based on points. Are you satisfied with your second-place ride today?
Definitely very satisfied. I felt really good. Peter was riding really strong, and the crowd here was amazing. So definitely my best result ever. Crowd was awesome too. All my friends showed up. Everyone was yelling my name. I was super happy with it.
How surprised were you that he went out so hard knowing that we're at altitude, you have the local advantage?
I was not surprised at all. I raced against Peter early in Providence, and he just gunned it from the beginning and was like just a little bit faster than us the whole lap. I knew he was going to do it. I was just hoping that I could take advantage later, but he was just too strong today.
Where was the difference made?
I think he got a little bit of a gap. I was trying to ride conservatively a little bit at the start, and then he just got a gap and just kept pinning it a little bit. And I was good technically, so I was able to keep it close for a little bit. But then Peter just gunned it and lost his wheel, and he just kept slowly extending it. He's super strong on the road, so.
Well, congratulations today. We'll see you in Europe, I would assume, for the World Championships.
I made the team after LA based on points, so I'll be there. So.
Congratulations, Max Chance, today. Here with Austin Vincent, the men's bronze medalist today. It's quite a battle for third. How chippy was that out there for that final podium spot?
Yeah, it was a big group after the first lap, like 5 guys, and all the surges, one by one, the guys were falling off, and I knew if I just kept on going and following the wheels and like working in my strong spots to try to like eliminate guys, it would work out. And when I coming into the go, it's just me and Ethan, and I knew that I could attack on the last lap and get away from him and secure third. So that's what I did, but it was definitely a good battle out there. It was questionable on if I could get third or not at some points.
Grant Elwood looked like he really put you guys in danger there halfway through the race. He got a little bit of a gap. How much did it take to bring him back?
Yeah, when I came onto the finishing straight with getting like in the second lap into the race, I was working like the whole 2 laps, and I really want someone else to pull through, and I was like flicking my elbow for Lance the work, and then he didn't, and then Grant attacked up the left side and instantaneously got like 10 seconds on us, and it took me that whole lap to try to chase him back down.
Race CF goes away with first and third today. How big is that for the team, and how big is it for your friend and teammate Peter Gogan for the national title?
That's huge. I'm so happy that me and him won 2 and get to share the podium together, and it's awesome that he gets his first national title. 2 years ago, me and him won 2 in Madison, and I was on the top step, so I'm glad that he gets a national title now.
Well, congratulations to you. Congratulations to the team.
Thank you.